Star Trek teleporter shit.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Cloud.
This is We Watch Movies. This is We Watch Movies, and this week we're going to be watching John Wick, which will be coming up in the future presentation, which will be the only segment because this is a Just Us episode. I've decided to stop calling them filler episodes and call them Just Us episodes. Which kind of sounds like a 70s like husband-wife detective solving TV show or something, but...
Can we just stick with the detective, problem solving? We'll stick with that one.
So we'll get to that in a minute, and I'll already go ahead and say I didn't watch anything, but did you watch anything?
I haven't had time to watch anything.
I haven't either.
No, but I am hoping that within the next day or two, I'll probably get some more stuff in, since I'll have some days off. Yay!
Yeah, I worked like 15 hours overtime this week, so I had no time. But since neither of us watched anything, we'll just except for this, because we did watch one thing, and so we'll get right to that.
And now, our feature presentation.
This week's movie is John Wick. John Wick is a 2014 action crime thriller film directed by Chad Stahelski, starring Keanu Reeves, Michael Nyqvist, Alfie Allen, Adriana Pilecki, Bridget Monahan, Dean Winters, Ian McShane, John Leguizamo, and Willem Dafoe. How about a plot synopsis?
Well, a retired John Wick, having lost his wife, has been attacked and his dog killed by the son of a Russian mobster that he used to work for. Within a bit of revenge, he goes after the son. The father ends up hiring William Dafoe to try to get rid of him. But alas, William Dafoe rather has a loyalty to John Wick. So a lot of shit hits the fan, and Wick has to kill a lot of people, which he does in a very amazing fashion, while they play some of the best movie music ever made. I feel bad for the dog, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like no matter how...
This isn't the first time I've seen this. This is I think the second time. And like I knew it was coming, but when it happened, I paused the movie and went in the other room and just hugged my dog because it makes me so sad.
And see, here's the deal: is if you're breaking in someone's house and they have like this big ass dog that is gonna fuck you up, you don't just beat the dog because I'm gonna beat this dog and have fun with it. You just kill the dog. Just do it. But like this is a puppy. Like, this dog has like
it's a little beagle puppy. It's not gonna hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, like if anything, they could have just picked it up, do what they wanted to do, tear up the house, and then just put the dog down. Oh well. And Wick probably would have let them get away with that.
But they're mean guys.
They would have had their fun. They would have shat in his face, and they would have lived to see another day. But they had to kill the dog because they thought they were tough because they were punk ass little bitches. Mm-hmm. The problem is they didn't realize they were punk ass little bitches. They had to be told by everyone, who then realized that Wick was going to come and kill them.
Yeah.
And that was one of the scenes that when I saw this, I saw it in theaters, and when I saw this and you had the dad and he like hugs his son, and there's this moment where you can't hear what the father says to him. It looks, it's like just maybe one short line, but the son, the face that he makes changes. Mm-hmm. And then you can hear the father talk again, and I'm just it's like, now get out of my sight. Like I think, if I remember correctly, that was the last line before he lets his son go. And the only thing is I can just imagine him saying that he's going to kill you, lets him go, get out of my sight, because that's the thing is, sometimes you fuck up really hard.
Yeah. And sometimes you do, and everyone knows it.
Yeah.
Which is what the case is with this, because like he goes to the chop shop after they steal a car, and we'll come back to the earlier stuff in a minute, but and John Leguizamo is there and he punches him, and so then the mobster dude dad calls and says, "I hear you hit my son," and he says, "Yes, sir. They stole John Wick's car and killed his dog," and he just says, "Oh," and hangs up the phone. And it's just an amazing moment. It's just like, it tells you so much about all of the people in this world. And it's not the only time either. There's a whoa or an oh, someone else says it later also. So it's like, people know.
Well, they spend the first 20 minutes of this movie building up the unseen character of John Wick.
Yeah. Watching videos of dead wife cliche.
Well, no, it's not just that. I mean, like, of course, yeah, that's going to happen. But okay, so you have Wick, and he's driving his car, and he shows up to the airfield, and you have the one guy in the truck guarding the gate, and he doesn't say anything. He just John Wick just stops, and he just fucking opens it, So he's like there's that connection there. A little bit later in the movie, after the hitmen come and break into the house, the police officer Jimmy shows up,
yeah,
and like Jimmy knows, yeah, like, hey, you working? Nah, I just got to take care of some things. And then it's just like, okay, there's a fucking dead body right there. We all see it. You can't lie. Like, you can't say, oh, that's a mannequin or some stupid shit. Like, no, Jimmy fucking knows.
No,
and Jimmy just
it's
leaves.
So great. Like he just kind of leans and kind of looks over and then leans back and just like, yeah, he knows.
Not John.
Yeah. That's the thing that's the best thing about this movie, is that there's so much world building that happens without anybody saying anything, without any narration. Like, this is how you do it. Like, I railed all over American Hustle for telling you everything, whether it needed to or not. And like, they realize in this, like, no, we can just be like, hey, look, stuff happens. We don't explain stuff, but it's there. And it builds this whole underground of hitmen and what the mob has to do with it. And there's this hotel, and there's the gold coins that tie everything together. And there's the people that clean up after you've killed a bunch of people. And
the cleaners.
Yeah, they drive up in a big van that says disposal services on the side, and it's just like the guy tips his hat as he goes out, and it's like all of this stuff. Now, not that that's original, because that's basically like, there's a character in Pulp Fiction that is the cleaner, and there's another movie that I think is actually called The Cleaner that might be Wesley Snipes or something. I can't remember. There's somebody there's a whole thing that's the whole thing. So it's not like any of this is new, which is the other thing. It's the other way that it succeeds in doing this, is that it's not, to use a phrase I've used before, too clever by half. Like, it knows that that it's playing around in the tropes of this kind of movie, but it never, there's no wink and nod about it. It's never like, hey, look what we just did, or even to the point of like something like the Avengers or any of the Marvel movies do a lot of winking at you. And this doesn't do that at all. It's like, here's just stuff. And it's insane and it's ridiculous, but and it's also a lot of it is standard sort of this kind of movie stuff. All the revenge movie stuff that kind of started with the Charles Bronson Death Wish movies, and it's the sort of where Taken comes from and all that kind of stuff. And so it does a lot of standard stuff without trying to over clever it to disguise it. It's just like, yeah, what? We're just doing stuff here. And we know but we don't have to tell you, because we know. But look, isn't it cool anyway? So, which, I mean, sometimes we'll say, please watch this before you listen to us talk about it. It doesn't matter. You can listen to everything we have to say. You can go and watch it, and you will have just as good a time as you would going in blind, I think.
Well, one of the things I do want to add is, even if you haven't watched this movie, I'm still going to recommend that you go watch this movie.
Yes.
But the thing that you can't get from us is the soundtrack. We can't just give you the soundtrack. We can't just tell you, oh, the soundtrack's amazing, and then you can appreciate it just from that alone. The soundtrack works with this film to control you on a more emotional side. which is something you don't really get from these types of action films.
Yeah. Well, and it's not like, big sweeping John Williams music or anything that makes you feel like E.T.'s dead or something. It's not like that. Like, it does pull you along emotionally and kind of tell you what to feel, but it's not like, not that that sounds like I'm putting down John Williams music. I'm not at all, but it's a different kind of thing.
Well, like, I'm trying to remember what the name of the club was, like Red Circle or whatever that was. Yeah, the Red Circle. But see, they have now this is part of the soundtrack because I did get the soundtrack for this movie, but they have the club music, and not only is it playing in the club, but it also plays as part of the background for what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though when they leave the club, it still kind of tones it down a little bit more, it still plays. So like you shouldn't be able to hear it, but that's part of like this whole action sequence is, things got to move fast. It's got to move smoothly. And that's what this music is. It flows with it.
Yeah, they do sort of tie everything. It's a weird sort of hybrid of like sometimes it's source music and sometimes it's the score.
Yeah.
But never really one or the other.
Because even when they play the music, because it does get really, really, really silent whenever Mob Boss shows up at William Dafoe's house.
Yes, and
he goes to offer him a job, and he's like, I want to offer you a job. Well, I've got a phone. Yeah, I'm gonna say something I know you're not gonna like. $2 million for John Wick's head, and then the music will pick back up after he, William Dafoe says, consider it done. Yeah. And then that's when they'll cut into the actual rock that plays the Marilyn Manson stuff whenever they start having all of the open shots of the city. And so like there's that really big change between what we've been listening to, what's happening, and then here's more open world, this music ties in with it.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about the city stuff. I've heard some people be confused as to what city this takes place in, which I don't understand at all because it's very obviously New York. Yeah. Like they show the Flatiron Building and like the Brooklyn Bridge, and you can see the Freedom Tower back there, and like John Leguizamo is drinking from one of those blue and white bodega coffee cups that they don't actually make anymore. That like I don't know how you could be confused that it's in New York. It's in New York. Nobody ever says New York, and there's never any like lower third or anything that tells you because it's not important really where it is, but that's where it is. I'm trying to see what I've got notes. The Legend of Death by Pencil.
Where he killed 3 men with a pencil in a club at the bar.
A pencil. Yeah, it's not exactly a spoon, but still.
Well, see, that's something else. Is like when I mentioned that they spend the first 20 minutes opening up, just trying to show who John Wick is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see him. The first shot we get is him bleeding. He's half unconscious. It's the middle of the night. His car looks like it's just wrecked into like the concrete wall thing, and he's leaning up against it. He pulls out the phone. It's his wife, and then he passes out.
Yeah. Because we begin at the end.
And then, it starts back up where, like, this is when he loses his wife. This is what he's having to do. There isn't a dog yet. They go through this process. So he doesn't seem like he's a real badass. Like, it doesn't. So
No, they do the Independence Day thing. They introduce him as a dude, and then you learn that he used to kill people.
Yeah. So he's just this whatever. Like he is as they said a nobody. And then it's like, okay, so all of these people know who John Wick is.
Yeah.
Even whenever he shows that he can speak Russian, and you're like, this guy speaks Russian. What? Like all this stuff. And then right there, whenever Mob Boss is trying to explain to his son just the fact that you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead. And then they cut between it and Wick using the sledgehammer to open up this concrete block on the floor that has all of his stuff in it. And I really like that editing sequence.
Yes.
Because that editing sequence,
back and forth, like he will come for you, you will do nothing because you can do nothing, and we're seeing him prepare at the same time.
Well, but they say like you could just have him say that. And if that's all we've seen, it's like, okay, that's kind of deep and, that kind of puts you on edge. But that's all it does whenever they jump back and forth and you see him and then he smashes into the concrete again and again. It's that little bit of like a jump you get when you hear something loud.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're already on edge because John Wick is going to kill this man. Everyone's saying that John Wick's going to kill this man. And then you have that extra pounding, you have that visual, and that kind of builds up this like, maybe John Wick's a really scary son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Now, something else that we get is whenever the father does call Wick and, Wick doesn't answer.
Yeah. What did he say? Enough. He said nothing at all. It's like, yes.
Yeah. Which, like, even though that is kind of silly, at the same time, when it happens, you're just like, yeah, he's pissed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, except for the whole sadness of the dog thing, the whole thing is silly and ridiculous because he kills like 75 people, and I think it's 77 or something actually is the official number. And it's just it's a crazy, ridiculous revenge action movie kind of thing. And so that those little bits of like funny, there's little bits of things like that are funny without anybody having to have quips or one-liners or anything. Like they never have to stoop to that, but they just have these little moments where you're like, yeah, without having to outright make a joke or anything. I will say, I don't like.
You will say?
I will say. I can say it. You can't say it anymore. I can say it because I don't say it. I don't like the subtitles. I don't like altered like accenting in subtitles or multiple fonts or animation or any. I don't like any of that. I don't like every time they say boogeyman or the only thing, the closest thing that gets away with it is the HUD kind of stuff they do in Scott Pilgrim. Like that's okay, but that's not really subtitles. But I don't like any time when they do this. We complained about what was it, the Victor Frankenstein subtitles. They were like, don't do anything that makes it hard to read, or like don't do.
Well, they didn't even have them at the bottom of the screen.
No,
like, they
they're in all different places, and they
and
fade in at different times for different words, and especially when he's singing the song in Russian. It's like, I don't stop it.
All right, now, I'm going to get back to what I was saying. I wasn't done yet.
Oh.
Okay, so Mob Boss, he opens up the safe, and in the safe is our first instance that we see that not only does Wick have coins, but the Mob Boss has coins. Mob Boss has maybe 20, 40, because he has a really small little stack of them.
Yeah,
and then
most of them are in the secret stash, I guess.
But there was no. This is Mob Boss. This is
no,
the one that the
yeah,
Mob
I know.
Boss has.
But I mean, we see later the secret stash at the secret church front, and I think there's more coins in there.
And then like you have like Wick, and like Wick just has this huge fucking pile of the coins. Yeah. and when you think about it, because he's telling about like the bodies that he buried, laid the foundation. Now, I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm just going to call them an assassin, like an assassin's guild, because that's really what it seems like, is even though all the assassins are kind of independent and they do their own jobs, since the hotel would be kind of like the guild.
Sort of. Well, I think it's more like the Code of the Brotherhood in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Like nobody has like an organization, but there's this sort of set of rules that everybody kind of agrees to because it benefits everybody. I don't know if
the
there's
reason I say this is because like the hotel seems to have its own group that works for the hotel specifically. It's like the woman, because one of the rules was, you don't do anything in the hotel. Yeah, and then
no
when she goes after Wick in the hotel, they hunt her down, and that wasn't just one or two. There was like 8 guys there. And they mowed her down like it was nothing.
Yeah, of course they do enforce the rules. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think they have like council meetings or anything.
Oh, of course not. But
which actually that blows my Pirates Code kind of thing, because they actually do have a council meeting.
Yeah. Now another thing is, I also think that who is the black man that hey, do you want to earn a coin? Just watch Sleeping Beauty here.
Oh yeah, like what's his name, Frank or something.
Yeah. Now, I don't remember because I wasn't paying that much attention to him specifically, but I could have swore he was supposed to be like an officer of some kind. So we know that there are police officers who would be at least acknowledging the fact that these assassins gather here at this hotel for like business kind of things.
I don't know. I didn't
And
really
he-
get that.
and-
I think he was just another guy that was just there.
Well, like, if he was just another guy, why would he just get a coin?
Well, because the coins, like, that's what apparently all assassination business is conducted in gold coins. So, like, and so they just sort of move throughout the sort of group of, like, everybody that's an assassin and the mob, and like, they're just used, it's the coin of the realm to sort of mix types of universes. That I think it's just, that's whatever, because we never see any other kind of money. Like, he pays for the hotel in a coin. They never explicitly say it, but I assume if Willem Dafoe actually carries out the contract, then he'll get an equivalent to $2 million in the coins. Like, it seems to be the thing that everybody uses, and so it's just like, hey, if you do a job for me, I'll pay you an assassin coin. So I don't think he works for the hotel.
No. But yeah, so I'm wondering how they're going to carry this over into John Wick 2.
I don't know. I'm actually kind of worried about how they're going to carry over the universe into 2, because the big part of the trailer that we've seen so far is he's at this like place with he's like buying guns or whatever, and they're doing it as if it's like courses in a meal. And so that seems like they're playing with because like you call the cleaning, like the cleanup guys, and it's dinner for however many people are dead that they need to take. And so it seems like they're carrying the metaphors forward, but it almost seems a little silly the way that it is in the trailer, where it's like, back it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be that overt. That's the thing that works in this one, is that there's a lot of information that you can kind of piece together, but it's all really low key, and it's all you have to do a lot of putting together of it and building it up in your own head, rather than them laying out everything for it or being like really heavy handed with the names of things and stuff. And so that does kind of make me nervous about how heavy they're going to push that kind of stuff into.
Now, see, I'm going to agree with that, but I think my problem is going to be more on how it's going to be story driven whenever they drop these kinds of these kinds of scenes on us.
Well, you can't kill his dog again.
Exactly, and then like he's got
Liam
no wife, he's
Neeson's
on his
family
own.
keeps getting kidnapped, so they could, but I guess, but I wouldn't want that.
Well, like, even in the trailer, like at the end of this movie, he gets the little pit bull. Well,
yeah. I have a
in the
question
trailer-
about that too, but we'll come back to that.
in the trailer for this next one, we see enough scene shots with the pit bull in it that I highly doubt they're going to just go out and kill the dog, especially because killing the dog seems to be really stupid.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point to it, and then just saying, like, okay, well, we're going to have the second movie to kill the dog again. Like, no, why would I want to watch this? Why would anyone want to watch this? Because that's the thing is, if people don't want to watch it, then you've wasted time and money making something no one wants to see. So you got to have something different to get this movie started. So if he's going to be back in business, where he's going to go back to work, and there's got to be something, a cause, a reason, something to drive it forward. And then, like, okay, so they're going to have the scene where it's, you eating dinner with the guns. Okay, how is this going to play into the plot of the story?
Yeah.
Because he's already
I don't know, because there's
guns.
nothing in the trailer, really.
Because that's the thing is, like, he already has guns. He already has them. We've seen that he has them. Why would he have to be there anyways?
Because there's serious work to do.
It needs some explosives.
Yeah, well, he had some grenades he could use. But so the thing about the pit bull is that's not like a pound or anything. It looks like it's a veterinary office, because he's like using the medical supplies to staple him stuff up and stuff, like John Connor in Terminator 3. So that's somebody's dog. So he just stole somebody else's dog, right?
There's potential for it to be someone else's dog.
Because that's what it felt like to me, and I didn't like that. Because it's like, I liked you up till now. You might have stolen somebody else's dog. I'm not okay with that, if that's what's happening here.
Well, see, I never saw / thought about it like that until you brought it up. Because I know that there are times where people will take animals to a pound because there's not like a... What would you call the places that you take animals to be adopted?
Humane Society?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's what the pound does. Is the pound the veterinary office? Like maybe they're all kind of connected.
Maybe, but I don't.
Who wants to adopt a dog that has cancer and is going to die in like 3 weeks?
Well,
come on.
Yeah, but usually a pound or an animal shelter or a Humane Society doesn't have. I don't think they have the cages in like the infirmary, like doctor area, which is what it seemed to be. And so it seemed like people had taken it just seemed like a vet's office, and that these are dogs that were sick and they're just there for treatment, and now one of them's stolen.
So I'm gonna pretend like this dog doesn't belong to anybody anymore, except for Wick.
Yeah, you can pretend that. I will say Marcus, which is Willem Dafoe's character, he has a really sweet robe.
Yes.
Like,
I do. Well, I like his house in general. Like
yeah,
the way
he's
got
house.
all of it set up. It's a really cool place to live.
Looks
He also doesn't put on makeup and lipstick and transgender detective,
yes.
rogue assassin, Catholic. Lord, I don't know if I can make anything else up. I'm making a Boondocks
yes.
Saints reference. All we need is a musical number now. Yay!
I know at some point, just from knowing him, that probably both Boondock Saints movies are going to come up in Kenny's favorite 50, and I'm just going to have to be quiet.
But I like they shot people. That's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, well, there's lots of movies where they shoot people. They shoot people in this. I'd much rather watch this. I'd even rather watch Taken. I guess the first Taken is okay. I don't think I've seen the others, because I was just like, it was like there was a whole run of movies during that few years there where it was like sequels to movies that you thought like, wait, what? Like Taken 2, Taken Again, and like The Hangover. It's like, these people, stop getting that drunk. Stop. Like, look what happens to you. Yeah, Taken to Town, Taken to Task, Taken That to the Bank. Man, it would be like if it was like the 80s and the Taken movies were coming out, we'd have a lot more fun titles for them. Like the Hangover movies, the Taken movies, all that stuff there, where it was just like, you can't have another one of these. Stop. Like, it was a singular premise that made sense once. Every time you make another one, it makes no sense. Even, I guess, carrying on later, like Sharknado again makes no sense. Didn't make much sense the first time, but it really doesn't make sense again. And so I'm scared of that with this. Like, please make it not that, because this, I mean, he does finally give in to, he says, people keep asking me if I'm back. I'm back now. And I'm like, okay, is that what it is? Like, he's back now? Like, that's where we pick up with, is that he's just back? Except, who is he working for? Because there's no mob anymore, apparently.
Because they're all dead.
They're all dead, yeah. Well, and even if they weren't, he burned the secret vault of secrets, so they had no influence anymore. Cool guys don't look at burning piles of money.
Cool guys also don't look at explosions.
No.
They turn their heads and walk away. Now, okay, they actually do end up catching Wick. And instead of just killing him, of course, they gotta have bad guy leave. Exactly. And then it's like, okay, I'll leave these guys to deal with you later. Prance away. And then, of course, William Dafoe's character, being the sniper, manages to help him. Now, I think the only big issue I had with the movie was, I guess, a writing issue, because no one knew that William Dafoe's character helped save Wick. but then they go and they kill him anyways, saying that he did.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know how we.
But there's no way they would have known. Like everyone that was there had somebody was killed
because they stand under the Brooklyn Bridge and talk about it, and so I guess maybe someone could have been listening, but they don't show us that.
Yeah, like they don't give us proof to show that they have proof in it, because like as the viewer we saw it, but everyone else that was there was killed. No one got out of that warehouse alive except for Wick. And so how does Mob Boss know that Sniper Man betrayed him because he'd rather be loyal to Wick? There's no way he would have known.
No.
Because when I rewatched it, because that was one of my concerns the first time I seen it. It's like, wait a minute, how did he even know? Because at this point, killing the son, Wick would have been done. Wick got his revenge, blah, blah, blah. And he would have left the dad alone. But the fact is the dad, mob boss man dad, ended up killing William Dafoe, and then that's why Wick went after him. Then, how would the mob boss even know? And that was the thing got me. And so rewatch it, and I still didn't see the connections.
No, I don't know how we get from here to there.
Yeah, that was my only real concern with it, because it's just like it's a writing issue. Like, I guess they needed something to have it where mob boss dies and they get rid of the that little bit of the Russian control in New York but ugh.
Yeah. Well, it really is sort of except it's actually opposite of that. So I was going to say it's like the sort of the James Bond movie structure where like you kill the main bad guy and then you still have the henchmen to deal with. It's the final big fight. And so they kind of do that in this, because it could end after he kills the son. It kind of feels like it does because he kind of drives away in the car, and then it doesn't end and there's 20 more minutes of movie.
Yeah.
But they do, because I don't really know why, because I don't know why the boss cares actually that he even did finally kill his kid, because he was kind of set on it happening anyway, and then he gave him the information, and although I guess he was still angry at Wick for killing his secret stash of secrets. So
yeah.
maybe that's something.
Well,
but he doesn't ever say that. He says, "You killed my son, Nagash." It's like, but so? I didn't kill you. He didn't kill you, and you kind of knew that your son was dead as soon as he did that, and you seemed to think he was stupid anyway. So, what do you care? I mean, I know it's your son, but still.
Well, because
I
know
like he's 12.
Like, generally, the story isn't that good. It's not. It's a very generic kind of story, because you can't have too much depth in this kind of thing and it still stay within the same genre.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. I still enjoy this movie. But when you look at it, there's times where it's just like, okay, writer man, why did you put this in here? There was no need for it. Like, you're trying to add that level of depth that the movie doesn't need when you've already established this previously. Like, we already know about this. We already know about that. There's no reason to add. And that's what I feel that they've done, is they've put more time trying to add things that didn't need, and then not paying attention to what they already had.
Yeah.
Because we know that, Wick goes to the church. The church, this place is ran by so-and-so. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm here to fuck his shit up. Ladies, have a good day. I like that line. Like, Wick's not there for them. Get the fuck out and have a good day.
Yeah, he does that a couple of times. He's nice to particular people and doesn't kill them. The bouncer dude at the Red Circle that he apparently has a prior relationship with, he just says, why don't you take the night off? And he takes his earpiece out and walks away. And it's like, see, that's okay. And you need those moments, because otherwise you have a guy just killing like 100 people throughout the movie. And so you still, like, sure, they killed his dog, and I would be really upset with someone if they killed my dog. I don't know if I would shoot them. I would hope that I would have more control than that. But since that's the case,
if they're still in my yard and they shoot my dog, I'll probably have to. Like, I won't hunt them down, because.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna They're not gonna have to hide their kids and hide their wife, and because I'm coming for everybody, like it is in the case of this. But. It does help to have those. He
doesn't just randomly kill things that are in the that are there. He only kills the people that are preventing him. Because
Yes.
whenever he gets close,
And that would kill him if he didn't.
Exactly. And it's just because everybody else in the club, no one else in the club got hurt except for the people that were trying to stop him.
No one else in the club notices a gunfight is happening, it doesn't seem.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the music's real loud.
This is something that I did like is the way that they handled these scenes was very efficient. It wasn't super flashy and good, crazy gun scenes. And there's no way he could have hit him with that pistol at that range. Like, there's none of that kind of shit. Like,
and
we're
people
talking about
reload.
point blank. Yeah, point blank, getting shot in the face. That guy's automatically dead. Oh, this guy was a little bit further and hit him twice in the chest, but luckily he was wearing the vest, and that vest can only hold so much, so he ends up having to take that off. Now he's more focused on dodging and hiding behind that pillar, shooting around corners. So we get to see a little bit of the evolution of this fight scene, because he does the same thing even whenever the hitmen break into his house.
Yeah, and he does get hurt.
He does
too.
Yeah, he does the roll, lands on top of the guy, shoots him once in the chest, and then shoots him once in the face. He does have to reload. It seems more practical and realistic.
Yeah.
But it happens fast enough that they go through all of these people while doing it, that it's still, even though it's very not flashy, it feels flashy.
Yeah,
like it feels like, this is a real gunfight.
Yeah, it's really controlled, and it's fun to watch without being ridiculous. Like shooting people is a martial arts thing, like Equilibrium or something.
I know gun fu.
This is directed by the guys. The guys that directed it. Only one of them is credited because the Directors Guild is weird about stuff like that. But these guys were the stunt coordinators for the Matrix movies. In particular for Neo. So,
well, I guess that means that they probably had a easier time making this film.
Yeah, like they know how to do
a
this.
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a relationship with Keanu, and they know how to make this kind of movie. Because basically, it's one long fight scene interspersed with a few other scenes. And
oh Lord, I don't remember his name, but this reminds me of another director who used to be a stunt driver, and then I don't remember him, and I don't remember the movie. But there's a quote from him, and he's like, "I'm tired of shooting all this dialogue. Let's wreck some cars."
So is he just practicing? Like there's never any car chase or anything. But he's practicing at the airport or whatever, where he has the security guy lets him in. But why is he practicing? Because he's retired, right? Is he just blowing off steam, driving his car fast, or? See,
I think that's what it is, because we do get that one shot where he almost runs into the what was it, the dump truck or whatever that's parked there. Because there's there's the three larger vehicles, and he really he floors it, he runs really close, he brakes, and then he slides right onto it, and then he has this look on his face where he's trying to make up his mind. So yeah, he probably is just blowing off some steam,
The moment that I did miss is he's driving the car around in the airport, and he just comes to a stop right before the car, and he takes a couple of breaths, and I just really wanted him to just look over at the dog in the passenger seat. Because as far as we know, the dog is still there, because he goes and gets gas, he goes right to the airport, and the dog was in the car. And
actually, that is a deleted scene.
Is it?
That right there, that is a deleted scene where the deleted scene is what we just see, but he'll take that breath, and then he kind of relaxes, and then he looks over to the dog, and he goes, "How's that?"
Oh, why is that not in the movie?
That is an actual deleted scene.
That's exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yeah. Now, another thing is, as I was thinking about it, is because since they don't show the dog in the final cut of the film like that, I'm just thinking, that dog's really small, really lightweight, and he's just throwing that car all over the place. There's no way that dog is still sitting right there.
He's just flying around, bouncing off the back windows.
Yeah, that dog is in the floorboard. He is in the trunk. He is all over the place. How he got to the trunk, I don't fucking know, but he's there. But that's the thing is, if you think about that, then it's good that he didn't look at the dog and how's that, because the dog's not there anymore.
Yeah, well, except I wondered, but wait, where's the dog? I didn't see him take him home. But then I guess if he is there, then you acknowledge he's there, and you're like, so wait, so how is the dog holding on through all of this? So either way, I guess it's a minor problem. Oh. That's neat that's a real thing, because that's exactly what I wanted to happen. So I guess they thought of it too. Let's see. The bourbon is Blanton's, in case anyone is curious and don't recognize the very recognizable bottle. But that's what it is. Let's see. Marcus gets killed, and I feel bad. Willem Dafoe, because he was because he did the right thing, kind of.
Well, he is the first person that we get introduced to without knowing why we're being introduced to him, because he's there at the funeral.
Yes.
And he's the only person who shows John Wick any kind of emotion.
Yeah.
You know. And because they're previous associates, in that scene, Wick is a little skeptical. Just a little bit, you know, it's like, why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just to see an old friend.
Mm-hmm.
By Wick, and then he leaves. And then that's our first connection. So you know that if he was going to try and kill him, that would be more of the focus of the movie. If it wasn't, then we knew he wasn't going to actually try and kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and you kind of have to, even though it's supposed to be kind of a reveal, I guess, in the warehouse, that we're expected to believe that he's almost as good as Wick is. But he still misses like a bunch of times, and you're like, so wait, what? He must be missing on purpose, right? So it kind of blows the surprise of it a little bit, or blows that you think he's as good as as they tell you he is, because he keeps missing. But yes, I guess you introduce him as just a guy that he kind of has a relationship with, and then even though he's supposed, and the boss says, what I'm going to say might, like, you might have feelings about this because I know you were close. So, like, we know they had some kind of relationship before, apart from just the handshake at the funeral. And then he just gets, I think I didn't really think of it until you said it, but wait, how do they know? I was just kind of be like, oh man, he got killed. That's too bad. Because otherwise, nobody that did anything good gets killed. They're all bad guys. Like Perkins gets her membership revoked, which means getting shot by 6 people at the same time, which is
like
great.
A bitch.
By your own hand, your membership is revoked. He puts his hat on and walks away, and she gets killed.
And you know, that was the interesting thing is I love watching that scene, because when I saw it the very first time, you see her, she shows up this place, and I guess she thinks that she's, you know, like, hey, meet me here for a job. So she goes, you know, she doesn't seem like she's ready for a firefight.
No.
And then, like, of course, the other guy walks up. He's telling her this stuff. And then, like, they've already been waiting for her there, and you can't see them. So they show up out of fucking thin air.
Yeah. They kind of walk in from the shadows and just... And
they just waste her. And, you know, like, she's supposedly supposed to be really good, too. And so, like, I'm wondering just how either this setup was extreme, or these are some top level dogs who are the enforcers of these rules.
Top,
because there's
men.
Top, yeah, the top men. Because I just think that's a little bit crazy, because you're supposed to have all these really good assassins, and they're just burning through them like it's nothing.
Yeah, well, I don't think that there are all these really good assassins. I think there are, and many of them are staying in the hotel. But most of them do not are there. It's not like the mob boss just has all of the best ones just on staff. Yeah. And so I think the send a team, how many do you have? Like, those are just dudes in the mob. Like, they're not the best or anything.
Yeah. I'm not even thinking about those.
And all the guys at the club and all that. Those are just mob guys.
Yeah, you know, yes, that's the thing. Is like I don't think of them as being the assassins from the guild, as I like calling it. I'm talking about like the man that stands behind the counter at the hotel.
Yeah, the front desk guy. I don't think he's an assassin.
Well, I'm sure he's got to have.
I bet he's got a gun back there, but
Yeah, and he's got to at least know how to use it.
Yeah.
Because you could think of it kind of like in a business strategy. You have this hotel who is ran in such a way to house these assassins for like a neutral ground. So the people who work there need to kind of know this stuff. So you don't really want to lose these people, because that means you have to replace them. And then you're going to replace them with somebody who doesn't know. So you got to teach them. So wouldn't it just be easier to have someone there who can handle themselves? So I'm pretty sure the desk clerk can take care of himself at least. So in case something was to happen right there in the lobby.
Yeah. Except
and then, of course,
nothing is ever supposed to happen because there are serious penalties for breaking the rules.
And so it kind of makes me wonder if you have, what's his name? The guy that was in the club sitting at the round, the
the older guy. Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I guess he's the one in charge of all of it. But you have him. You have the enforcers that are with him. You have the people who probably work more directly with the hotel and that club specifically. You had the lady behind the bar. Like she knew about this stuff.
Yeah, well, everybody there knows. Everybody has to know. Francis.
Yep.
His name is Francis.
Yep. But there's got to be people who actually work for the hotel and this establishment compared to just the people who associate and frequent it. Now, we don't see the Russian dudes just chilling there. We don't see them. So like these people who get killed by John like it's nothing. That I'm not looking at those. I'm talking about like William Dafoe's character.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be really good. Why does all this stuff happen to him? Like really? What? Like, because you mentioned earlier about him missing these shots. Like, I'm pretty sure he would have at least been able to shoot the woman that was attacking him in the bedroom pretty easily.
Yeah, which he doesn't, which is weird.
Yeah, so what's up with this shit?
Well, also, he's not... would that be interfering with the hotel? Would that be basically doing business on the premises, even though he's across the street with a sniper rifle?
I would say no, solely because there isn't a listed hit on her.
I guess so. So, yeah, there's no contract.
Because she's getting paid to kill Wick. So if William was to shoot her, I guess that would be similar to just John shooting her. Now, I'm sure John wouldn't have wanted to do that simply because he's physically in the hotel, and that would have been more issue. Better safe than sorry. And maybe that's why he did it. It's like he just shot to kind of give him some heads up. Like
yeah, because that's basically what he does. Because he shoots early. He shoots the pillow before she's in the room. There, yeah, really. It's like
that. Yeah, but then you have the follow-ups, and then what's her name? I don't even fucking care. She gets wasted. Like she's supposed to be really good, and she can't tell that she's walking into a trap. Where either this trap is so good that these guys they don't even need the trap. They fucking materialize, Star Trek teleporter shit, some lead in your chest, and then we're gone. Because someone's got to clean that up too, and that's outside.
Yeah, and they do it, and then the disposal guy walks up and tips his hat, and it's like, yep, everything's taken care of.
Yep. Now those guys seem pretty cool.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, because there's been cleaners for other things before, and the wolf from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
you mentioned him. You see, he himself doesn't do so much as he tells what to do. But like these guys, like they're a full crew who does this, and these are like some big dudes, and you would think maybe these dudes. Yeah, but you'd think like maybe these guys would do something like, I bet these guys, I bet they're funny and tell jokes and do all kinds of crazy shit and clean up bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some blood on the wall. Better wash that. Hey, did you get the good soap or did you buy the cheap shit again?
Mm-hmm.
Had to go to Costco's for this. We like to buy it in bulk.
So how do we feel about stars?
I'm gonna give John Wick 5 stars. I've always enjoyed it, no matter how many times. Yeah, I know. I've enjoyed it every time I've watched it. And even the little bits and pieces that I'm like, at the end of the day, when I'm finished watching the movie and I put it back in its Blu-ray case, I didn't give enough of a shit to care. So 5 stars.
I'm going to agree with that. There are things about it that I think aren't perfect, but it's still an amazingly good time to watch. And as the sort of action revenge cliche kind of movie, it's one of the best examples of that. So it's quite the entertainment.
5 stars,
5 stars.
Strung up, and then action, and like they're spinning because they've been shot at by Keanu Reeves because he can actually do this stuff.
Yeah. The sort of qualification I would make is there is a significant amount of fictional depiction of violence. So if that bothers you that people get shot in the face and you see it, and then you're going to see it 74 more times, then consider that. But if that doesn't bother you, then I don't see what reason you should have for not watching it. Any other thoughts?
Nah, I'm good.
That's Star Wars. And that's all we have to say about John Wick. And we'll see you next time.
Later.
Keanu Reeves.
The mob boss says that John is a man of unbelievable patience or something in his whole
Focus.
run of things that he describes him as. Yeah. But he can't wait for the coffee to finish making before pouring some. Like he does it 2 different times. It's like the pot's half full, you still hear it making, he pulls it. Because you don't want to do that, because it's not, like that cup isn't going to be good, and the whole rest of the pot's ruined now, because none of it's going to mix right, and just like, don't wait for the coffee to finish. I mean, I was going to give him a pass on the morning of his wife's funeral, but then the next day, like, come on, get it together.